The story of Jacob. Jacob's dream. Genesis chapter 28. The native town of Jacob's mother was far away from his own native village. Yaakoob was not only sad but also ashamed when he set out on the long journey there. He had taken Esau's birthright by deceit. Now he had to run so that his brother would not kill him. When the night came, Jacob wrapped his robe around his body to stay warm and lay down in the open field. He placed a stone under his head as a pillow. As he fell asleep, he had a dream that there was a shining ladder leading from the earth to heaven. Angels are ascending and descending on that ladder for the message of God. Jacob was surprised to see that God himself was standing near me. He said to Jacob, "I am the God of Abraham and your father Isaac. I will be your God too. All this land that surrounds you I will give to your children. Your sons will grow up to be a great and mighty nation, and I will bless the whole world through them. I will be with you and take care of you wherever you go." Jacob woke up and was very surprised. God was with him and spoke with him. He named the place Bethel, which means house of God. Taking the stone he had made a pillow, he set it up as a memorial and prayed to God, "If you are really with me, take me and bring me back safely to my father's house. I will be faithful throughout my life. I will continue to serve and worship you." Then Jacob realized that God had helped me. He was comforted and encouraged. He got up and went on his journey. Finally he reached the well which was near his mother's native town of Haran. A few shepherds were sitting there. Jacob asked them, "Do you know my mother's brother Laban?" They replied, "Yes, they do. Look, his daughter Rachel is coming." A beautiful girl was coming towards the same well with her flock of sheep. Jacob went forward and rolled the stone that was placed at the mouth of the well so that the girl could draw water. Then he told Rachel about himself. She gladly took Jacob to the house of his father and his uncle Laban. Cheated by a thief. Genesis chapters 28 to 29. Laban welcomed his nephew. Now Jacob started living with his uncle and his two daughters. The elder daughter was named Leah and the younger daughter was named Rachel. Yaakoob started helping his uncles by tending and caring for their sheep. One day his maternal uncle said, "I should pay you full wages for your hard work." Yaakoob replied, "I do not want any wages. If you give me your daughter Rachel in marriage, I am ready to serve you for 7 years. Jacob loved Rachel so much that he found 7 years of hard work to be a small price to marry her. When the 7 years were completed, a great wedding feast was held. When it was night, the bride of Laban Yaakoob was brought to him in the dark. But the next morning, Yaakoob found out that the girl I married was not Atal, but Leah. Yaakoob had deceived others, and now he has lost his hand. Jacob complained bitterly to Laban, and he said, "If the younger sister was given in marriage first, it would have been a great injustice to Leah." However, Laban promised, "If you wait this week for the wedding ceremonies to be over, Rachel will also be married to you. But in return, you will serve me for 7 years. It will have to be done." In those days, it was customary that a man could have more wives than a man, although it also caused jealousy and fights. So, 7 years later, Rachel was also married to Jacob. Now both his sisters are his. There were wives. After some time, Jacob also took the 2 concubines of his wives as his wives according to the custom. As time went by, Jacob had many sons. But his wife Rachel had no children. Rachel was very jealous of Leah because she had sons. But Leah was very unhappy because Jacob loved her. Was not finally Rachel also had a son? He called his name Yusuf. After the birth of Yusuf, Jacob decided to leave Laban's house. Since Jacob started tending the flocks, the number of sheep and goats had increased greatly. So he convinced Jacob to stay with me and promised, "I will pay your wages." Jacob said, "Black and thin goats will be my wages." Laban went to Ammon because there were not many such animals, but when large black and spotted goats began to be born in large numbers, Laban became very angry and tried to deceive Jacob by changing his agreement with him. But Laban, the more times he cheated, the more God gave Jacob success. Laban had become rich, but Jacob became even richer because he now owned many flocks and herds. Once again, God said to Jacob, "Go back to your home and land of Canaan." The next day, when Laban had gone somewhere, Jacob took his wives, children and all his cattle with him and set out on a journey. They were going back to the land that God had promised to give to the descendants of Jacob when the time came.